Well, it's 3:30 on Saturday 18th of May, Saturday afternoon, and if you watched the previous video then you know that we finally got some success with the spawning last night. The Harawaki, Deutz Harawaki and the Benikika Kiryu successfully spawned through the night for several hours. If you haven't seen that video clip, please go back and watch it. Even though I say so myself, there's some great little slow motion clips showing what the spawning activity is really like, and even though they're small koi, they certainly put their hearts into it. So behind me, all the fish are out of here now, just the eggs. The net's been widened out to its full width, and I'll show you some of the eggs. Not a huge number of eggs, and unfortunately some of them have clumped up a little bit on the brushes, which will obviously affect their hatching ability. So I hope you can see on the video, there's a decent spread of eggs across the spawning brushes. Not as many as I would have hoped, but we'll see how these hatch. We've got 2 females in reserve if we need to use them. So this is where the eggs will hatch and be reared over the coming month or so until it's time to do the first selection. But we'll follow the development of the fry, hopefully, as long as they're fertilised eggs and they hatch okay over the course of the coming week. Okay, it's 5:30 on Monday afternoon, so it's about 60 hours since the spawning completed on Saturday morning. Lots of people have been asking, where are the eggs, where are the eggs, show us the eggs. I've got to be honest, I really didn't know where we were at with eggs over the course of the weekend. I knew there didn't seem to be a huge number, and there are a lot of eggs which had clumped up on the spawning brushes in one of the corners, and I wrote those all off, to be honest. My general experience of clumped eggs is that they generally die in the spawnings I've witnessed previously, and that seemed to be the majority of the eggs that had been clumped up. I couldn't find many on the brushes without putting all the brushes about and checking them thoroughly. So very much contingency plans have been made for another spawning to take place, but I kind of got a bit of a pleasant surprise today. There was a build-up of air underneath the spawning net, which seems to dislodge a lot of clumped eggs on the bottom and send them up, and they ended up around the sides and in the spawning ropes. I'll show you in a little while that my fears that the clumped eggs would have all died and gone bad is actually quite different. I'm not going to say there's a huge fertilisation rate amongst it, but there's a number of fertilised eggs, so that's very pleasing. And if I look across now the bottom of the spawning rope, I see what I think may be, the spawning net, I see what are maybe eggs on the bottom, so hopefully, fingers crossed, they may be fertile eggs which are going to hatch. The eggs are treated with malachite green. I don't think we covered that on the video that was done on Saturday afternoon, and thankfully there doesn't seem to be any sign of fungus amongst the eggs that are in the net, so that's a good sign as well. So gives me hope for those that are fertilised, even if they're sort of tucked away somewhere on the bottom, that they may hatch. And as you'll see in a moment, we can see eyes in the eggs now as well. So I'm a lot more positive than I perhaps was on Saturday afternoon and Sunday morning, when I say I was prepared to write the whole spawning off. Still making contingency plans here to do another spawning. I don't think there's going to be many eggs in here and many fry, so I shall probably plan another spawning middle of June, when the next full moon comes around, and I'll show you outside in a moment what's been put in place to keep males and females apart until then, and get the females on some food to increase the egg production before then as well. So this here is one of those little clumps of eggs that I spoke about, which came off the bottom this morning. As you can clearly see, I hope on the video, the little black eyes in lots of the eggs, and the little black bodies of the fry forming as well. So just quickly place these on a plate, and just so you can see that and get an idea of where we're at with those. So that was very satisfying, I have to say. to find that we had as many eggs like that, which is say eggs which I'd written off. So that's pleasing, but I'll pop these back onto the spawning right now, nestled in there, where hopefully they'll continue to develop over the next 48 hours or so. And you can see that's the same clump just resting there in the spawning brushes. There's several clumps like this I can see, and there's still eggs around the side of the net I can see as well. So as I say, time will tell, but hopeful that something's going to happen with these and we'll get something hatched that we can grow on and hopefully get something. Prior to hatching, this is my first trial of hatching the baby brine shrimp. That'll be their first food along with the dry food that I've got for them. These hopefully should hatch long before they're actually required. So I say this is just a test inside this tank. The tank's warmed to about 25, 26, 27 degrees, something like that. Not really sure the accuracy of the heater. So at the moment just some salt inside a cut off plastic bottle. The aquarium water's being warmed, so what I'll do later or tomorrow if these start hatching, is place a couple more bottles in there and stagger those out. So they hatch at various rates, so they can be fed to the fish over the course of the coming days as their first food. Outside it's all starting becoming a little bit like a fish farm. Setting this up, just this minute set this up, this Intex pool, 600 gallons, is going to take the males, all the male fish that are in the main pond at the moment, they're going to come into here away from the females, so the females can rest in the main pond. The job will be done for tomorrow now, so I'm not sure exactly how many males are going to come out. There's lots of small fish in there which hopefully I'll be able to sex, and so the females will go into the main pond at the back. The two main females I've got are kept separate in that blue pool at the moment, just in case there's any rogue spawnings overnight. So that's where we're at with that. So that's really warm, muggy day today, and as I say, hopefully in the next 48 hours or so we'll start to see some of the fry hatch, and that will be the next video we show.